Sa atin pong lahat, isang maganda at pinagpalang hapon. A former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Sir Harold Macmillan, once said, "It is not the things that one did in one's life that one regrets, but rather, it is the opportunities that he missed." If we as a country view the past 60 years of our history, they may be only termed as one thing: decades of missed opportunities. After the Second World War, the Philippines had the second highest per capita GDP in Asia. Today, we have one of the lowest. During the 50s, the Philippines had one of the highest standards of education in Asia. Many of our neighbors sent their children to the Philippines to study in our schools of learning. Today, we are ranked poorly in achievement scores. During the 60s, the Philippines produced enough food to feed our people. Today, we are one of the biggest exporters of rice in Asia. Prior to martial law, prior to martial law, we had only around 1 million Filipino workers abroad. Today, estimates reach anywhere between 8, 9, even up to 11 million Filipinos who voted with their feet and decided to leave our country. The question we must all ponder is simple. What is wrong with us? Why does our march down the road toward development always seem to be 2 steps forward and 3 steps backward? Today, for purposes of this forum, we were asked to present our socio-economic peace program that the next president, whomsoever he or she may be, should study, follow, and perhaps consider. What I will present you this afternoon is nothing novel nor new. Perhaps there is only a difference in approach. Perhaps there is only a difference insofar as priorities are concerned. Let me begin by saying we should agree on one common goal. As public servants, we serve the highest interests of our people. Primarily, we seek to eliminate poverty and improve the quality of life of our citizens. In a market economy, this means striving for higher family income, a highly educated and/or trainable workforce, better healthcare, affordable food, housing, and peaceful communities. The intermediate goal is the creation of millions and millions of new jobs and livelihood opportunities. This would necessitate being able to successfully attract much greater amounts of direct investments, including and especially foreign investments. To succeed in enticing investors, we submit that whoever becomes president should focus on the following areas. First, good governance. We must repair our house. The trust and faith of our people in critical institutions have been severely damaged. The office of the presidency itself, Congress, the judiciary, law enforcement agencies, and revenue-generating agencies as well. With respect to graft and corruption, it can no longer be business as usual, and it must be confronted head-on by the next government. Officials of the next government should consider it embarrassing to say the least, shameful to say the least, for any public official to ostentatiously display wealth, especially in times of acute public want. We must have a stable policy environment. Dapat tigilan na natin yung atras-abante sa mga polisiya ng pamahalaan. We must enforce laws and enforce them speedily. People will obey and follow our laws if there is certainty of punishment and if their officials are not only implementing them fairly, but following themselves. We must enlist the best and the brightest to serve in government and pay them as well as salary equivalent to what they should be earning in the private sector. We must follow the principle of subsidiarity, devolving authority to the lowest levels of government that can handle the problem, be it provinces, cities, municipalities, even barangays, because they are by now tired of waiting for Imperial Manila to act on their problems from a distance. As soon as the national government can afford it, a larger percentage of the IRA or internal revenue allotment, which now stands at 20%, must be added to and increased to as high as 40% in the next 4 years. This would speed up development in the countryside and would make the delivery of basic social services more direct and closer to the people. Next, we must strengthen our finances. This year we will suffer one of the biggest budget deficits in Philippine history. Some estimates put it anywhere between 300 to 350 billion. This means an additional 4,000 in debt for every man, woman, and child in the Philippines, on top of the more or less 50,000 each and every one of us already owes our lenders. Such budget deficits are simply unsustainable. We must put a stop to smuggling, which has been estimated at anywhere between 10 to 11 billion, or more or less 480 billion pesos. Revenues from VAT alone will amount and can amount to over 50 billion pesos.